China's takeover of Ghana continues, this time into the retail business. About 40% of retail business done in Ghana is done through China Mall and businesses connected to China Mall. This is a huge national security and economic issue that we have to address as a nation. And I'll explain why in a bit. My name is Enebi Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer who lives in the US. On this channel, I talk about geopolitics and the perspective of an African. So if that's something you are into, subscribe to this channel. Now, let's get right into it. China is Ghana's biggest trading partner. That means that most of the businesses that Ghana does in foreign waters is done with China, right? There is a big issue where the business that Ghana is purported to be doing with China, it is actually China doing business with itself in Ghana. So China Mall is a huge mall that is taking over Ghana. And I tried to find out how many locations of China malls are in Ghana. I couldn't find the right number. I tried to talk to people on the phones. And so I used AI, the mapping system and web listing system. And I was able to find about 12 China mall locations in Ghana. Accra, Amasaman, Kumasi, Takoradi, the Red Star Mall. In Kumasi, there is 2. In Accra, there's about 4, all the way through Amasaman. You know what I'm saying? Even there's Wager, Kasoa, so many locations of China Mall. And how is this affecting Ghana negatively? Because when you think about China Mall, you think about low-costing goods, and so it's good for Ghanaians that we can buy anything we want at low cost, right? Wrong. And I'll explain why to you in a bit. You know, in every economy, there is the upper class, middle class, and the lower class. And the things that the upper class does for money is different from the things that the middle class does for money and the things that the lower class does for money. A lot of time, the lower class can't really take care of themselves. So in different countries, governments have different programs to cater for the lower class, right? If you follow news and international news, you know that in the US recently, there was some news about SNAP. The SNAP is a program where the US government used to support people who can't afford food in the US. So yes, there are poor people in the US who can afford food, right? And in Ghana, we have that too. But, you know, Ghana government can't really afford programs like SNAP realistically, right? Our budget is supported by foreign countries. So they get to tell our government what to use the money for, right? And so how does the government of Ghana support the lower class people? One of the ways the government of Ghana does that is putting in place programs and laws that protect the lower class in terms of business. So in Ghana, for example, there is a law that only Ghanaians can do small and medium scale retail business in Ghana. So the small shops we have in Ghana that sell Indomie, Kobe, and gari, only Ghanaians can do those type of business. And it's the government of Ghana's way of supporting the lower class. And I'll explain how to you. So if you came to Accra from Navrongo and you came to Accra with no money and you want to start life in Accra with zero money, there is a way towards upward mobility if you had no education. So maybe you start by being a truck pusher and every day you make maybe 20 Ghana from pushing truck. You use 10 Ghana from the 20 Ghana to buy food, Indomie, and maybe you have some small kaya you girl who is your lobby on the side. You use maybe 2 Ghana to also support her. So now you save maybe 8 Ghana. And then you boa the 8 Ghana and then maybe you have 80 Ghana. And then use the 80 Ghana to buy a sieve to start selling fine yogurt, fine milk, and those things, right? And through the selling of fine milk on the sieve on your head, yes, ice, you are able to make small money to start now selling fine milk on a bigger scale, right? Now, through that, you can grow to maybe one day own your own fan milk depot where people buy from you. This is not a story I'm making up. This is somebody I know personally in Mataheko who started business from coming to Accra, selling chains, things in the traffic, and then moving from that to owning a farm milk depot in Dansuman, close to Mataheko, where I used to stay, right? That is how that is why the government of Ghana makes it only Ghanaians can do retail business, right? It is a way of support because this person I'm talking about, he has a wife and kid. Now his kids are now going to school. His kids have a chance at a better life because their father went to this struggle, right? His family back home in Avrongo, he sends them small money from time to time. So the small business you don't respect in the streets, they actually support lives. So those small businesses have to exist. What has this got to do with the China Mall? I'll explain to you. So according to the president of the National Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Obey, the China Mall have taken over 40% of the retail business in Ghana. So Ghanaians who do retail business have only two choices now. Either close their shops or buy from the China malls. How does this happen? So the China malls in Ghana are attached to a company in China called Shandun. So Shandun works in the supply chain business, right? Supply chains means that they control import and export. And a lot of the cost in goods and services happens within the supply chain. So this microphone, maybe they made it for $5. It cost them $10 to ship it from China to the US. What is the cost of this microphone? It's not $5 anymore. It is $15. And so the shop that is selling it in the US will have to put their markup and everything, right? So the China malls have been able to figure out a way to control the supply chain to Ghana. So previously, Ghanaians could go to China and import stuff and come and sell in Ghana, right? And when they do that, the importers in Ghana make some small money, take care of their family, and the people they sell to in Ghana, the wholesalers, the importers now are wholesalers, they sell to people who become retailers in Ghana. Those retailers also make some small money, and then they also take care of their family, and the retailers will sell to the people who buy from the retailers, right? Everybody in the supply chain, when it was only Ghanaians that was controlling the supply chain, made some money to take care of their family. Now, what the China Mall is doing is cutting out everybody out of the supply chain. Does this make sense to you? Please leave comment if my explanation doesn't hit for you. So, the supply chain is cutting out Ghanaians. So now the only people who are surviving in the retail business now in Ghana are the people who are buying from the China malls to go and sell to other people, right? Because the China mall has what? Scale and pricing advantage. Because it's been able to control the supply chain, they get to control the pricing. So that's why the things that you are buying from the China mall are cheaper than what you are buying from anywhere else. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let me also even break it down further. In China, almost every business in China is controlled by the government. The government may allow other people to own their businesses like Alibaba and the rest, but the government still has some laws in China that enables that the government have 100% access to all businesses. So if the government of China realizes that The China malls in Ghana, when they make profits, they bring it back to China. What do you think the government of China will do? The government of China would make sure that Ghanaians who come to China directly to import are disadvantaged. Ghanaians who come to China to import are disadvantaged. And then the Chinese who import to Ghana through the China Mall scheme have the whole advantage. And so that is how they keep money coming to China. So when you buy anything in Ghana through the China Mall, the money goes to the China Mall pay their parent company in China, and that money is used to pay taxes in China. And if it's even crazier this way, let me put it this way. The what's the name? Ghana Revenue Authority have tried to close down the China Mall branches, some of them because they don't pay taxes. If you do business in Ghana, my mom had a retail business, you pay taxes to the government through VAT, through property tax, through income tax, everything, SNIT. The China malls are not paying these taxes. And they're taking the money back to China. So the government of Ghana won't get the money to build the schools, to build hospitals, because the Chinese are not paying taxes in Ghana. The predatory business Chinese are doing in Ghana is affecting us in ways that we are not being cognizant of. We need to pay attention to things like this. Because the reason why it is important that you care about stuff like this, because I notice that people who watch my channel are people who are educated, so probably will not have to sell pongpo or do by day. Because my parents, right, my dad, he was a policeman who rose to the rank of the chief inspector, retired early to take up a position as a national director of Gideon's International, right? He became a big man. But my dad, when he finished secondary school, carried pongpo. He was a by day worker. And he made money with that by day to buy forms to go to police and become a policeman. These days, the likelihood of somebody like my dad from a village in Adan becoming a policeman in Ghana is low. There is no job there, even with the military. They said that all the people who apply for the military, some of who lose their life this year, only about 4,000 of them will get jobs. Or even less than that will get jobs. So there are a lot of joblessness in this regard, right? So because the chance of becoming a police is lower in Ghana, chance of becoming a teacher is lower in Ghana, and think of the people who didn't have the chance to go to school. When they do the by day, carry the pongpo, they want to go to retail. Maybe they want to sell whatever you retail. They want to sell plastic. They want to sell bicycle. They want to sell anything with a small capital they make. The China Mall scheme makes it hard for people to do stuff like this. And what do you think they will do? The guess is right. Go into crimes. You know, let me give you, I keep saying let me give you because it's just a continuation word. I had a friend who came from South Africa to Ghana. I have some friends from South Africa. And my friend from South Africa, when he came to Ghana, was telling me that the things she worked in Ghana for like 2 years. The thing she liked about Ghana was the fact that no matter how poor you are in Ghana, there is something you do to take care of yourself. So like selling pure water in traffic in Ghana, yeah, the people who sell pure water are able to take care of themselves from selling pure water. You can't do that in South Africa because there are restrictions on it. So the poor people in South Africa, even though South Africa is richer than Ghana, are extra poor, and that increases crime in South Africa more than Ghana. In the US, the same thing. You can't hawk. Hawking is a crime in places in the US. So because you can't hawk in the US, people who are poor in the US don't have a realistic chance at what's the name? Upward mobility. That is why crime is higher in the US than Ghana, even though US is wealthier than Ghana. You get a picture I'm painting for you. You need to have avenues for poor people to rise. Otherwise, you are setting yourself up for disaster as a country. So the Chinese takeover of Ghana's retail business is dangerous to our national security. There is a reason why the Ghana Investment Promotion Act made retail business a preserve for only Ghanaians. Because we have to care about Ghanaians. That is not xenophobia. When you do laws in your country to protect your citizens and make life better for your citizens, that is not xenophobia. I live in the US as an immigrant, right? There are things I can't do in the US because I'm not an American citizen. There are some loans I can't get in the US because I'm not an American citizen. There are some sectors I cannot work in the US because I'm not an American citizen. Every country worth its salt takes steps to protect its citizens. If you watch the news and hear Trump complain about immigrants and everything, immigrants taking American jobs, the jobs that immigrants are taking in America, there's a limit to the jobs immigrants can take in America. It's not every job in America that immigrants can take. So those things are usually just campaign messages, because the reality is that there are some things that you can't do in America if you are not a citizen. There are some things that you can't do in China if you are not a citizen. I know people who live in China or who have lived in China. There are some things that you should not be able to do in Ghana if you are not a Ghanaian citizen, and that is retail. China Mall is destroying businesses in Ghana. We need to highlight this. All I can do is highlight. So that's what I'm doing. What we need to do is people with means and power need to find out how we can stop the encroachment of Ghana's retail business by the Chinese malls. It's important. This is almost every now and then I do a video about China taking over Ghana. I've done one about China taking over Ghana's fishing industry. I'm from Adan. I knew what I was talking about when I said that. I've done one about China spying on African countries, including Ghana. I have experience in cybersecurity. I know what I'm talking about. This is also another issue that I know what I'm talking about because my mom works in retail. My mom's business is not being affected by the Chinese because of where she is located. But I know how the entire industry is being affected. I just wanted to highlight that. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to my channel if you understand the intellectual places I'm coming from, and leave comment to let me know whether you think I'm right or wrong. I love you. I'll talk to you later. I said I love you because today is Wednesday. I'll post this on Thursday. Thursday is Thanksgiving Day in the US. So happy Thanksgiving if you live in America. If you live in Ghana, don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It's not your festival. I'm kidding. You can celebrate anything you want. I'll talk to you later.